What's the essence of moving for you?
So in just inhabiting your own self and your own physicality. So it doesn't matter, it's not about the shape or the aesthetic, but just the engagement with you, being present in the body, really.
How does body awareness and presence then feed into movement? Is that a useful thing?
Yeah, it's critical. I think in performance, you need to be present. You really need to be present, or you're not really doing the job. So I think there's a lot of inquiry into presence and what it is to perform and be present in performing for dancers, for young dancers. So if the actions are empty, it's just very different. You'd have to put two dancers side by side and see one that's present and one that's not, and you know who you want to watch.
Tell me more about that though. What's the thing about presence that makes you curious or is sort of enjoyable to watch?
I think it's a humanity, there's a sort of vitality in a humanity, and that it's lived, it's really like, there's that thing of being in the moment, it's like vibrant and alive and it's being lived. So it's not still life even. So
I've heard you talk a lot about problems of letting go, and often in cranial work there's this sort of real emphasis on relaxation and a sense of letting go of tension or something about releasing. And I've really enjoyed hearing you talk about how that's not always the goal, and frequently isn't the goal actually. Can you expand on that a little?
Yeah, I've had clients that seem to have this kind of big fantasy that if they could just let go, everything would resolve. And I just get a bit nervous around the idea of letting go as a giving up of everything that of all of your tension. And there's something so potentially flaccid and switched off about that really worries me. So yeah, we don't want to work with tension. We don't want to be hanging on to unnecessary tension, but the muscles want to be switched on. So exactly what we're letting go of, I just find that term slightly problematic, because it usually means just flopping out, and flopping out is a bit of a mess. I mean, in dance terms, it's really injury provoking, but it's also a mess. I'm not interested in sort of a flaccid body.
Very good. And also, I've heard you speak passionately about you're not an animal at this stage. This sense of in your performing and in your work, there's a precise conscious awareness rather than descending into a more primitive state. Can you talk me about that a bit as well?
Yeah, I mean, it came up, I think, on the last workshop that we did, and we did some crawling, and we're looking at the movement of the spine through that, and I think that the switch between allowing the body to start to move itself, so you're kind of going along for the ride, is that lovely being in the moment of really listening to the body as it moves, rather than directing the body and the body goes a little bit after. My refinement of movement isn't accidental. It's years of investment and work. So whether we start at the age of 5 or 18 when I started training, or 21 when I started working, I'm nearly 45 now. It's a lot of inquiry and a lot of investment and a lot of daily practice. So it's mindful. It's really aware. It's highly tuned. Yeah, it's
beautiful.
I'm not waiting for something else.
Yeah, so it's not a descending into primitive, it's actually a learned engaging of the body that's incredibly detailed and nuanced and practiced.
Yeah.
Wow.